Beautiful day here in Washington, D.C. outside the US Congress. The leaves are falling and so are the ballots into the ballot boxes. Up for grabs, of course, control of Congress. Let's break it down for you. 435 seats on the House of Representatives side of the US Congress. That's all of them. And then every midterm election, essentially a third of the Senate, whether it be 33 or 34 seats out of 100. And traditionally, the opposition party to whoever's holding the presidency generally wins. But this time is slightly different. Why? Well, Republicans thought they had a big chance, but then remember that Supreme Court ruling just across the street from here, essentially knocking down Roe versus Wade, a woman's right to abortion. That really led to a huge surge of enthusiasm and anger for the Democrats against the Republicans. Has that lasted? No, because there's another word. Inflation too. Inflation is running at its highest level in 40 years here. Prices at the gas pump, prices at the supermarket, really affecting people. So it really comes down to a choice between values and kitchen table issues here. And as we've seen this race get closer and closer in terms of the polls, as polling day comes on, you can't predict. But the thing is, the math favors the Republicans. On the House side, they only need 5 seats for a majority. And as you know, on the Senate side, it is 50-50 with Kamala Harris, the Vice President of the United States, holding the casting vote. So it will come down to a handful of districts, a handful of states. We may not know the result on Tuesday night. For example, in Georgia, if no one gets 50% in the Senate race, which of course decided the Senate during the Biden election, then they may have a runoff in a month's time. There may be other recounts. There may be even room for questioning the results like we saw in the 2020 election as well. In fact, a lot of election deniers are on the ballot for the Republican Party, saying they may only recognize the results if they win. All these issues, all this political tension is coming down to the wire here. And despite the polls, despite the predictions, you know the American electorate can surprise anyone in the world. I would just add a foreign policy aspect to this. Even though this is a domestic election and domestic issues rule, control of Congress means control of the money. There is talk from Republicans there will be no more blank check for Ukraine and arms to Ukraine if they win. There is huge opposition to the reinstation of the Iran nuclear deal, and even more pressure, can you believe it, on China legislatively if the Republicans come in on top of what the Biden administration done. So even though this is a domestic political election for Americans, its reverberations will be felt across the globe. Nathan King, CGTN, outside the US Congress.